The sun dipped below the horizon. The sky turned a beautiful shade of purple. A big, bright moon rose in the sky. It bathed the world in a silvery glow. From the tall grass, tiny creatures peeked out. They had big eyes and mischievous grins. These weren't ordinary creatures, they were moonbeams, here for a night of fun. One by one they scurried out. They giggled and whispered, excited for their nightly adventures. Soon the meadow was alive with the sound of tiny footsteps and happy squeaks.
Come on, slowpokes, tonight's gonna be epic!
The moonbeams scampered towards the whispering willow. It stood at the edge of the meadow, its branches reaching out like welcoming arms. This was their secret meeting place, hidden from the world. The willow tree loved their playful energy. It swayed gently, as if dancing along to their laughter.
All right, gather round, you little bundles of mischief. Tonight we're gonna have some good old-fashioned fun.
The moonbeams cheered, their eyes sparkling with excitement. They knew their leader, Twinkle, always planned the best games. First up, feather fight, Twinkle announced, tossing a handful of fluffy feathers into the air. The moonbeams gathered around, their eyes sparkling with excitement. They had been waiting for this moment all day, and now it was finally here. The air was soon filled with a flurry of soft white feathers, creating a magical scene that looked like a snowstorm in the middle of summer. The air filled with soft white feathers, each one catching the light and shimmering like tiny stars. The moonbeams couldn't contain their joy as they watched the feathers float gently down, creating a blanket of fluff on the ground. The moonbeams squealed with delight, batting the feathers at each other. They danced and twirled, their movements graceful and carefree. It was as if they were performing a choreographed dance, each move perfectly timed with the others. They jumped and twirled, their laughter echoing through the meadow. The sound of their joy was infectious, spreading to every corner of the meadow and beyond. Even the birds in the trees seemed to join in, chirping merrily along with the moonbeams. One tiny moonbeam, still learning to fly, got caught in a flurry of feathers. He flapped his little wings frantically, trying to free himself from the soft, ticklish trap. He tumbled head over heels, landing with a soft thud. The other moonbeams paused for a moment, worried that he might be hurt, but instead of crying, he burst into giggles, his tiny body shaking with laughter. The sight of him laughing so heartily brought smiles to everyone's faces.
Gotcha! One of the moonbeams exclaimed, swooping down to tickle the tiny one with a feather.
Twinkle, with a mischievous glint in his eye, grabbed a huge feather. He knew just how to make the game even more fun, and tickled the giggling moonbeam. The little one squirmed and laughed, trying to escape the ticklish assault. The little one shrieked with laughter, his voice ringing out like a bell. The other moonbeams joined in, creating a symphony of giggles and shrieks that filled the meadow with pure, unadulterated joy. After the feather fight, the meadow was a scene of playful chaos. Feathers scattered everywhere, glistening under the moonlight. The moonbeams gathered around Twinkle, their faces lit with anticipation and curiosity. He held a shimmering bag, its contents sparkling like a million tiny stars, casting a magical glow on everything around.
Stardust time! Twinkle's voice rang out, filled with joy and excitement.
He announced, his voice full of excitement as the moonbeams leaned in closer, eager to see what would happen next. With a flourish, he sprinkled the stardust over the moonbeams, the tiny particles catching the light and creating a mesmerizing display. As the dust touched their skin, they began to glow, their bodies radiating a soft, ethereal light that made them look like living stars. The meadow was transformed into a magical wonderland, the stardust creating a sparkling carpet that shimmered with every movement. The moonbeams zipped and zoomed, leaving trails of sparkling stardust in their wake, their laughter filling the air. They played tag, their glowing bodies making them easy to spot, their movements graceful and fluid.
Look, a flying lantern, one of the moonbeams pointed out, their eyes wide with wonder.
One clever moonbeam sprinkled stardust on a sleepy ladybug, the tiny creature stirring as the magical dust settled on its wings. The ladybug, startled by the sudden glow, opened its wings and flew away, leaving a trail of shimmering dust behind it, adding to the enchantment of the night. The moonbeams cried, their laughter echoing through the night, a sound of pure joy and delight that seemed to make the stars twinkle even brighter. They danced in a circle, their movements synchronized and graceful, the stardust swirling around them like a magical aura. Twinkle watched them with a smile, his heart filled with happiness at the sight of his friends enjoying the magical night. Eventually, the moonbeams lay down on the grass, looking up at the stars, their glowing bodies blending with the night sky. Twinkle joined them, the group lying together in a peaceful silence, the magic of the stardust still lingering in the air. As the night grew deeper, the moonbeams and Twinkle slowly drifted off to sleep, their dreams filled with the wonders of the stardust shower. As the sky began to lighten, signaling the approach of dawn, Twinkle gathered the moonbeams. The night had been filled with laughter, magic, and countless adventures. The fairies had danced under the stars, played hide and seek with the fireflies, and whispered secrets to the night flowers. Now, as the first rays of sunlight began to peek over the horizon, it was time to say goodbye.
All right, party's over, little buddies. Time to head back before the sun wakes up. Let's gather our things and make sure we leave no trace behind. We don't want the humans to find out about our magical escapades, do we?
The moonbeams, tired but happy, gathered their stardust and feathers. With yawns and sleepy smiles, they waved goodbye to Twinkle and the Whispering Willow. One by one they disappeared into the tall grass, their glow fading as the sun rose. The meadow was silent again, the only evidence of their adventure a few scattered feathers and a lingering sparkle of stardust. The Whispering Willow, with its ancient wisdom, watched over the meadow, knowing that this was not the end, but merely a pause until the next night. The meadow, now bathed in the soft light of dawn, held the secrets of the night close. The scattered feathers and the faint sparkle of stardust were silent witnesses to the magic that had unfolded. The creatures of the day began to stir, unaware of the nocturnal wonders that had taken place. The fairies' laughter and whispers were now just echoes in the wind, waiting to be revived with the next moonrise. But everyone knew, when the moon rose again, the moonbeams would be back for more mischief and fun. The night held endless possibilities, and the fairies were always ready to embrace them. Until then, the meadow would rest, dreaming of the magic that was yet to come.